All right, guys, I'm back. I just wanted to update you guys on where I'm at with both of my injuries. So, slap tear repair, stitch put in my rotator cuff, and also the bone spur shape. And I also had a Lapiplasty procedure to correct my bunion. All the steri strips are gone. The incisions are completely healed. Stitches are out and everything. I think I also was just starting being able to do active range of motion, which is I can move it myself. So I pretty much have full range of motion now. Only thing is still working on internal rotation of the shoulder, just like the full flexion of it. Just once I get my arm all the way up overhead, it still kind of feels like a stretch once I get to that in range of motion. But everything's been going really good with the shoulder. I'm really happy with it. Just been trying to incorporate more of my shoulder rehab into my actual training. So I'm able to do push-ups. They still kind of have me on a volume limit and like not pressing every day. So I go 2 days in a row off, press 2 days off. But I'm able to do push-ups. I'm able to bench press. But interesting thing with the bench press, tried it for the first time earlier this week, and with the normal straight bar, when I get down to here, it's pretty uncomfortable. And the physical therapist explained to me that when you get your elbows all the way back here, the head of the humerus punches forward in the shoulder. And so where I'm at, that's probably not a good position for my shoulder right now. So that was his big thing, was just don't really extend that elbow in a far back position. So I tried the Swiss bar, as like these neutral grip handles on it, so you can press from here at like bench press. You can also press overhead with it. And I tried that because I know that that's a lot easier on the shoulder just because of the positioning and the neutral grip. And I figure if I can go here for push-ups, touch my chest down to the ground, no issue, keep my hands in the same position, go here and press, that should be totally fine. And it was. I'm deadlifting now. I think that probably happened shortly after the last video I posted. So I'm deadlifting now. I had gotten back into squatting, but just a safety squat bar, which has the support around here, and you're able to grab it here, which is good for people with shoulder injuries because you can't do back squat, you can't do front squat. So I'm able to front squat now. So I'm not that heavy with that. I'm only up to about 115 pounds, just because I really didn't realize how taxing that was on the shoulder from this position. I didn't realize that it was taxing, but it is pretty taxing. I mean, I'll do 5 sets of 8 and I'll feel it in my shoulder. Whereas before the surgery, I felt nothing with this. They told me that for pull-ups, he really doesn't want me to start really doing pull-ups until about 6 months. And then I can progress from there into more of like the kipping style pull-ups, butterfly pull-ups. So he said that after 6 months, the rate of re-injury significantly drops. So he said, yeah, the shoulder's going to be healed at 4 months, which will be on September 28th, which is in about 3 weeks, that structurally everything will be healed up, and I can quote unquote let loose. But it's like you don't want to let loose too much, because the level that I had my shoulder at and things I was doing with my shoulder were totally fine for someone who never had surgery. But now that I've had surgery, I have to be a little bit more cautious with that, and look at my volume, look at how much I'm pressing, pulling overhead, things like that. So they want me to slowly progress back into that. So right now I'm doing I do a lot of like rows, TRX rows, inverted rows, barbell rows, single arm rows. I always think pulling is great for the shoulder because it helps build up the musculature back here, which helps keep your stronger shoulder more resilient. But the pressing is where they want me to go only 2 days in a row. So I usually alternate between shoulder stability overhead presses with lightweight dumbbells. Like I'm only at like 10 or 15 pounds right now. Not because I can't handle it, but just because I'm slowly working back up to being able to handle heavier loads. Just making sure that shoulder feels comfortable with that. So Turkish get-ups, I finally did a full Turkish get-up with 10 pounds. A couple weeks ago, I was doing them just like a quarter or half Turkish get-ups with weight, just being able to support it while that shoulder's moving through that range of motion. But did 10 pounds yesterday and it felt good, no issues. So I'll probably try to progress that. Overhead carries, I'm doing that. Landmine pressing. So just really trying to get that shoulder back strong and stable, because I don't feel like it's not strong. I just feel like it's not as stable as it used to be. I just feel like I have to focus a little bit more to press. Last time I had a follow-up with the doctor, he pretty much was like, unless you have an issue, you don't need to come back to see me. He was like, once you hit 4 months, you're good to go. Just continue to progress your activity, work with your physical therapist. So, I mean, that's good news. I didn't have any issues with the shoulder. It was a standard, good recovery, and I'll just wait till 6 months to, I guess, really quote unquote let loose. But I'm doing bandit pull-ups right now, which I don't like the way they look, but it's just to help get my body used to being able to support all of my body weight overhead. So the band I'm using probably has me supporting anywhere from 50 to 75% of my body weight. So not a ton. So I just do kind of high reps with that just to get my body used to it. And then I'm also doing the inverted rows and things like that. Today was the first week that I got back on the assault bike and the rower. The rower, I didn't really notice much difference on my shoulder. I didn't really feel any strain or stress on my shoulder. After I did the assault bike, the shoulder was like fatigued. It just felt kind of how it did once I first started doing active range of motion stuff, and we would do a lot of external rotation and like just moving the arm. And by the end of physical therapy, the shoulder just feel tired, like not sore, but just tired. That's how it felt after the assault bike. So that was interesting. I've never felt that before. But either way, these are things that I've been asking my physical therapist about since probably June, July, and they finally gave me the okay to do it. So I'm happy with that. So physical therapy now mostly consists of working on my toe, surprisingly enough. So I'm pretty much talking about my workouts and just making sure I'm progressing volume and everything well. But the toe, on the other hand, has proved to be the pain in my ass. It pretty much, the MTP joint, which is the joint where the bunion is actually at, is just still a little bit stiff. So extension, which is just crucial to walking, running, jumping, lunging, everything, that range of motion is not 100% there yet. It has good range of motion passively. It's a little bit stiff, like you have to work it to get there. But when you load it into this position, it just won't go all the way. So I still can't lunge. I just got the clearance to run, so I've done 2 running workouts. The doctor only has me doing a mile at a time with 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. So I've been doing that. And the foot, gets tired. The foot gets tired and it just kind of like aches, after I'm done. But sit down for a while, prop it up, throw some ice on it. It's fine. I haven't noticed an increase in swelling with that. Another thing with the toe is that it won't curl. So last time I made this video, I was just out of the boot. I was just starting back walking and just getting a feel for that. And the walking, everything's been fine. But just the one thing I've noticed, that extension isn't there and the curling isn't there. So, when you try to just curl your toes down, all the toes will curl. But my big toe, all the toes will curl, and then the big toe just slightly moves like this. So it really doesn't look like the big toe has gone anywhere. But it has. It's just not a lot. So just that very tip won't curl down. The doctor thinks it'll come back. He said it may have been damaged within the surgery and is just kind of repairing itself right now. Therapy, we're doing like a lot of like fine motor movement things. So we're really just focusing on toe grabs, toe extension, short foot, where you're just kind of like focusing on pulling the arch of your foot up. We do marble grabs. We work on towel curl, like, where you're curling up the towel, but I can't really curl the towel very far because this toe won't curl to grab the towel. So it also has me putting my foot into a bucket of rice and just moving my foot around in the rice and just grabbing at the rice. So when I'm at home, I just sit my foot in the bucket full of rice and I just move it around. And I mean, it looks absurd. I just never really thought that the toe was going to be the issue. When I had these 2 surgeries, I was absolutely focused on the shoulder. But I will say I'd rather have the toe be the issue than the shoulder, because I can do more with a limited toe than a limited shoulder. So structurally, the bone is fine, but it's just we're really working to get that joint, back and moving. It's kind of a pain in my ass that I'm literally only going to physical therapy for my toe. They've been dry needling my foot, which the first time I had dry needling was for my shoulder. They wanted to needle my foot just to kind of wake that muscle up that controls the curling and whatever, the extension and all that. And the top of the foot is mildly uncomfortable, but the bottom of the foot is like so uncomfortable. I mean, I like to think I have a high pain tolerance. I'm not someone who is hooting and hollering in physical therapy or getting a piercing or a tattoo, but it's uncomfortable because they stab it, they put the needle in, and then they kind of move it around, and just on the bottom of the foot it's uncomfortable. So I asked my physical therapist, I said, this is more uncomfortable than the shoulder and the top of the foot. And he was like, oh yeah, the bottom of your foot is like one of the worst places to get needled. Go figure. So this is the shit that I'm going through. So then when I had my last follow-up with the doctor, when he cleared me to run, and I kind of wrote down a list of everything that was going on with the toe that I had issue about, he suggested that I ask the physical therapist about doing electrical stimulation, usually where they put these little electrodes on different parts of the body part, and it kind of wakes the muscle up and gets it to contract and jump. And so physical therapist was like, oh yeah, great, sure, yeah, we can do that. But they do it with the use of the needles, which is probably more effective because the needles can get deeper into the muscle tissue than the electrodes. So he needled the bottom of my foot, or bottom of that toe, just that toe. He needled the bottom of that toe in specific areas, then attached the electrodes to the needle, and then turned it on. So it wasn't just getting here or like the layer right below. It was actually like being transmitted directly to that muscle deep in there. So that was okay. Not the most comfortable thing, but it wasn't as bad as when they just have the needles in and move it around. Because with electrical stimulation, they don't move it. It just sits there, and they just let the machine do the electrical impulses on whatever the cadence is that they have it at. And he just left me there for about like 5 minutes or so. I do feel like the toe range of motion, control, balance, all that is getting better. It's just coming from having to do these like fine motor things. So we do a lot of balance stuff. We focus on me, thinking about pushing my toe down while I'm balancing, just remedial stuff. But the foot is a whole different breed, is what I'm realizing. So I'm doing a lot of reading about the toe with bunion surgeries and with this particular surgery. And I can't say I found a lot of people that have had exactly the issues that I've had going on. And the doctor let me know that wasn't exactly normal, but I don't know why mine is this way. But just, taking it one day at a time, just continuing to do a lot of the stuff at home. Because you can't go to physical therapy and expect them to fix it all in an hour session. So you've got to do all of the stuff at home. So that's why I sit there with my foot in a bucket of rice and go through all of that. Overall, we're at a pretty good place with everything. Nothing major is going wrong, so that's a really good thing. Shoulder is somewhat back in commission, just having to be careful with how much I use it and how I use it. Just going to continue with the running program, progressing with the 30-30, 30 on, 30 off, with the mile. My doctor and physical therapist both think that with the impact of running, jumping, all that will also loosen up that joint and allow it to get into extension. There was a note that was on the packet when I had the surgery, of like the information packet, and it said like you may not really see the full benefit of the surgery until a year after. So I really thought that the foot was going to be like, once I was able to run, I was going to be good to go. What I'm realizing is I'm able to run because structurally the bone is okay, but everything else surrounding it is still not okay. The foot may not feel or be 100% until a year from now, but I can honestly say that being able to run 3.5 months after having this surgery is a lot better than if I would have had the original surgery of where they go in, slice down the side of the foot, go in, crack the bone, and reposition it. And I'm in a cast for 6 weeks, then I progress to the boot, then I can say it's definitely better off. If you are planning on having any surgeries, just make sure you get in with a good physical therapist so that you can, it's just a lot of work that needs to be done after the surgery. Surgery is not a fix-all. You really got to do a lot of work to fix what they went in there and sliced and diced up. I'll be back in probably 2 months or so with another update, and hopefully that update is I'm running and everything's good with that, and hopefully more range of motion with the toe, and shoulder will be all healed up by then, and hopefully I'm progressing back into pull-ups and doing a lot of overhead work. So I'll see you next time.